Hello and welcome back to Conquering My Collection. In this video, I want to clear something up, explain something that no one was asking for me to explain or clear up. But regardless, in this Conquering My Collection series, the goal, if you're unaware, was for me to just go through my collection and find a film I've never seen before and watch it. Simple. I have so many films in my collection that I haven't seen. It's a way to force me to watch more movies, basically. But I'd avoided this collection here, the Masters of Cinema collection. Why? Because I was already doing another series called the Masters of Cinema Marathon. Now, that series I started many years ago, and it was like a proper in-depth series, like with videos and clips and little factoids along the bottom of the screen, everything like that. And I just, it became too much work. I was really proud of the first few videos I did, but it became too much work. And then I returned to it in a more casual way, but I still was committing to watching all the extras and everything. And then I was kind of like hamstrung by the fact that I wanted to go in chronological order through the spine numbers. And it was like, well, I don't want to watch that one next. Oh, I wish I could just watch spine number 1, 2, 3, but it's, I have to wait until I get to it and work my way through all the other ones. And if I watch it now, then I'll have to rewatch it again by the time I get back to that film. It's the way the stupid brain works in Luke's head. Now I've just decided, fuck it. Fuck it, just watch whatever you want and talk about it. And somewhere down the line, maybe I can do a Masters of Cinema Marathon video about it and go in more depth and watch all the extras and stuff. Who cares? Just watch some of these films. Now, what really kicked me up the arse to do this was I made a big order for some Eureka titles in the Masters of Cinema range. And I just thought, wow, my collection's now going to reach over 200 titles in the Masters of Cinema range. I need to start watching more of them. I've seen a lot of them, but I need to see more. The collection of unwatched MOC titles is becoming ridiculous. So I just thought, just grab something off the shelf. So I grabbed this film, I watched it, and I'm going to try and do more. And also, I was doubly kicked up the arse by Graham at Men v Film. So he told me the other day that he has watched and reviewed 50 MOC Blu-rays this year. And I thought, holy shit, he has put me to shame. Some people like to refer to me as like sort of a, I don't know what would the right term be without sounding like an egotistical prick. I don't know, but people have associated me with the Masters of Cinema collection on YouTube because I've made many videos about them. I did the big 1 to 100 spines video when I completed that collection and stuff. But I think that Graham is taking the top spot right now because he's actually watching the films and talking about them. So, with that in mind, let's kind of go on with the film at hand, which is spine number 17 in the collection. A film by Michelangelo Antonioni. It is The Lady Without Camellias. I believe that's the English title. The Lady Without Camellias. This is from 1953. Again, directed by Michelangelo Antonioni, who is a very famous Italian director. I think Blow Up is perhaps his most famous film. That's in the Criterion Collection, I believe. And the Italian title is, I will attempt this, La Signora Senza Camellia. That's how they said it in the original theatrical trailer, which is presented on the disc. So we're going to go with that. La Signora Senza Camellia. And the lead actress here, before I forget how to pronounce her name too, is Lucia Bose. So this is a film about an actress. And I have to say, when I first bought this years and years ago, or maybe I got it for Christmas, I don't know, because there were a lot of MOC Christmas presents when I was building up this collection. I was really struck by this woman on the front, just beautiful. It was like, who's this woman? What's her story? So I was always very intrigued, but I guess not intrigued enough to actually watch the film, right? So when I was thinking about what one do I grab off the shelf, this one was like 100 minutes, so not too long, and the cover, again, screamed out at me. And also, I've been doing some Twitter kind of Q&A things. It was like, give me top 5s to do, and someone said, can you give me your top 5 Italian films? And I said, sorry, I haven't seen many to give you a good top 5. Although once they brought up the Spaghetti Western trilogy, I thought, okay, there's actually quite a few. Cinema Paradiso is one, the whole Spaghetti Western trilogy. There's something else as well I've forgotten already. But again, my knowledge of Italian cinema and just experiencing it in general is very, very weak and low. Bicycle Thieves is a good one. but I feel like there's another big one that I remembered and promptly forgot about again, either way. So I thought, well, it's an Italian film as well. It's a classic Italian film, so let's give it a shot. So, it's about an actress called Clara Manni, I believe was her name. I have the booklet here, so I can have a look at the character names, because I certainly don't remember them, even though I just watched it about an hour ago. Right at the front here, there is no, there is, okay. Clara Manni, that's Lucia Bose, and, okay, yeah. So, she's an actress. And I read the synopsis on the back, and the synopsis said that it's about an actress. No, it's about a shop clerk who gets kind of plucked out of obscurity to become an actress. And then kind of becomes quite famous. So I assumed that was what the movie was going to be, was her rise to fame, like a Star is Born style. But it's not that at all. The movie opens, and all that backstory has already happened off screen. So the movie begins with a really striking title sequence with just this woman walking up and down this curb on the street, very kind of, you feel her impatience, and there's something restless about the way she's walking back and forth. The credits finish, and then we slowly move behind her as she's walking along the street, and this is beautiful kind of shots of this street at night, and there's the cinema, and off in the distance there's big Italian lettering on these buildings. I just loved, and that's something I love about old films in general, is just seeing snapshots of different places in the world at that time. And I say that a lot in videos, but with this, I think it was shot in Venice and Rome, I believe. So you get some nice kind of Italian kind of architecture in there from the 50s and things. I enjoyed that aspect of the film. And then she goes inside the cinema to see the end of the film that she's starring in, which is where we actually see this image from the cover of the Blu-ray, and it's one of the more famous images from the film. And there's a shot of this in the trailer that isn't actually in the movie. You only see this stuff from afar on the big screen, and people are talking about her and stuff, and there's a lot of men kind of talking back and forth about how they're going to use her, and for kind of their movies, and they're thinking very much about her career, but what they can get out of her. And the whole movie is quietly, unassumingly devastating. This is such man, it's a rough one, but you don't feel it until you get to the end and you realize that where the story is heading. I don't want to give away too many spoilers or anything, but it really is not an unpleasant film, but it's I'm trying to think of the right word, the right descriptive term to use here, without discrediting it or making it feel like I'm criticizing it. Dour, maybe? No, not even that. I don't know what it is. Almost hopeless. It's a story about how the movie industry, and by extension men with power, can manipulate and exploit women. Now that can go for the physical, and the mental. I mean, we've even as recently as the whole Harvey Weinstein stuff coming out. The movie industry and treatment of women has historically always been pretty fucking shit. And this is in the 50s, and already in the 50s they're making a story about it and kind of commenting on it at the same time. But it's all in this story. It's not the physical; it's more the emotional exploitation of women, and of this woman in particular, of Clara. So she's a young actress. She's in her early 20s, and she makes this movie. She's been plucked out of obscurity, and people saying, "Wow, she's really got something on the screen." So they start giving her roles in which she's sexualized, and she's bringing in money and viewers because of how beautiful she is. And the actress Lucia Bose, she is stunning. She's a beautiful woman, and so you can totally see why she is this object of affection from the viewers and the money that's coming into the cinemas. But also you can almost see that the eyes flashing with dollar bill signs, so to speak, of all these movie producers. And one of them in particular, and I'll get his name here from the booklet, Gianni, played by Andrea Cecchi. Gianni, I'm not sure if he's a producer or a director, but he very quickly scoops Clara up, and it's very uncomfortable when you realize what's going on, because he very quickly is kind of hitting on her, and then all of a sudden he asks her to marry him, And before she can even really answer this, her parents have turned up, and they're in love with the idea. They're like, okay, my daughter's moved away from Milan, she's in the movie industry, but she's got this nice man to be her husband and take care of her. We're really happy about this. And so she kind of gets ambushed, like, okay, my parents are already expecting this to happen, and I haven't even said anything to the guy. And the guy's like, well, it's all settled then. And she gets married, she gets pushed into it, you know. And it's this strong arming of this young girl that's just really sad, you know. And one thing I'll say is that the film takes place over about, from what I can tell, a 6 to 9 month period, based on what the characters are saying, like, oh, that was a couple of months ago, or it's been months since we've seen so and so. But it actually feels more like a few years, and I think the film would have benefited more from it explicitly stating it's been years, because there are time jumps frequently throughout the film from scene to scene, and it doesn't hold your hand. You have to kind of figure out based on what's going on, like, okay, this is some time has passed. But eventually someone will name check, well, not name check, but they'll kind of say, oh, it's been a couple of months since we saw her and she's had a haircut. And so I feel like the scope of the story feels so much larger than what the script is telling you it is. You know, the script is telling you that it's happened over a few months, when I feel like it should be a few years, because, you know, her career goes in different places, she makes different movies, and, you know, she goes off and does another movie and refuses this other project. And then once that movie doesn't do too well, the producer's like, well, we have to start right away on the old one. You know, it's been like a month or so. And it's like, really? She went off and made a whole other movie in like a month, or, you know, whatever. So that was a bit weird, the timing of everything. But yeah, it's about how she's exploited and the situation she's trapped in. And there's another man who comes into the picture and very much desires her. And they start an affair, a fling. And that, to me, is where I started to feel like she wasn't really giving a good performance, the actress, because these passionate scenes of kissing and kind of hugging with other male characters felt very stilted to me. And, you know, the men would start kind of like kissing her neck and cheek, and she just looks very rigid. And then I started to realize that that's kind of the point, that there is no passion there from her, because everything's being forced upon her, you know. I was just about to say this film is almost about the long-term rape of this woman, not in the kind of, you know, how do I kind of tie this together? You know, not in a traditional sense, but it's just again, the exploiting of her. Well, forget I said the word rape. I'll leave that in, but I'm trying to express myself here, because I really do feel like it's one of those things where it's the longer it draws out, you realize just how protracted and horrible what's happened to this woman really is, and that this guy who turns up, and it's kind of framed like a bit of a romantic, you know, affair, but there's not really much romance there. It's more he just wants this fling with an actress because she's famous, and he readily admits that, you know, he's not interested in the films that she makes, and he turns up to the premiere of one of her films, and he's like, I don't care about cinema, and he's like, I just came here for you, like I came here exclusively to see you. And it's just really creepy, you know, and she's vulnerable. He kind of takes advantage of that. But, you know, it's not too graphic or anything. There's no, like, nudity or anything like that. And it's not really explicit in that sense. And that's why I think maybe it has more impact. Because if you were to just, like, show us these scenes of her having sex with with her husband, and then the man she has an affair with, and showing her looking completely uninterested, it would be even more, you know, in your face that she's uncomfortable with this. But when you do it when things are behind closed doors, and you just see kisses here and there and stuff, it slowly creeps up on you just how, you know, again, how awful this situation is for this woman. Does the film offer us much hope at the end? Not really. It's not one of those films at all. And the final, like, 10 minutes of the film was so impactful for me, because I realized where it was going, and I just thought, oh, wow. And I think that's where her performance really came into its own, because, God, yeah, it's heartbreaking, because she builds herself up towards the end into a position where she's taking control of her life again. And then the moment that she kind of realizes that that's not going to happen, because ultimately her destiny will be decided by men with power, you know. Yeah, I don't feel like the film is anywhere near as good as that last 10 minutes where it really nails the message home, but I respect it. I respect the story that it was telling because it is uncompromising in the sense that by the end you realize this is the story it's telling and there isn't going to be a Hollywood ending to this story. And you know, it's not like super tragic, but it's you know, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth all the same. And I just like the way that it wasn't in your face about the story it was telling. It slowly bit creeps up on you. And you know, as the film was going, I was wondering, you know, where's it going to go? How is she going to find a way out of this? And will she do it in the right way? And so on and so forth. And yeah, so I just thought it was a really good film. Not a great one. There's some great moments of cinematography, and some of the lighting is really quite good. Actually, it reminded me of some really nicely shot Hollywood films from the 40s. In fact, especially in the scenes at the house that she shares with her husband. There's like this gorgeous kind of almost like modern design of this house. There's lots of like balconies and very extravagant. There's a moment where her husband has tried to kill himself actually, and she's brought into the house and his bedroom is like just through this door, but instead they go up the steps up onto the balcony, they go through, and then there's a very nice camera shot looking down on the bedroom, and it's like, you know, why did she go upstairs to look down? She could have just walked through the door, it'd be a lot quicker, but it's a nice camera shot. So the conceit there is that it's kind of I don't know, kind of flexing a little bit, like, hey, look at this really nice camera angle from this balcony. I really like the character of, it says in the booklet, Cole, but in the film I'm pretty sure he was called Ercolini, and he's a really memorable character played by Gino Cervi. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and he's this movie producer, very outlandish character. He's always like, we gotta get this done, we gotta get that done, and you know, what are you doing over there, and all this kind of stuff. But then he actually turns out to be maybe the one person who champions, you know, Clara's career and life more than anyone else, you know, and I liked seeing his softer side and how he was willing to at least try to help her. But it's really intriguing, just the idea of the movie industry and how it works. And, you know, there are scenes on set and things, working with actors. And there's a really nice scene when her, what would you call him? The person she's having an affair with. I don't know, what's the term? You would say mistress if it was a woman. I don't know what you'd say when it's a guy. Anyway, he turns up when she's making a movie, and they start like walking around the back of the set, and it's this beautiful kind of framing of like behind these like set walls and stuff, and it's kind of a bit more grimy and kind of gritty. In fact, I love the setting of the last 10 minutes of the film, which is at a movie studio, but it's like outside, and there's kind of like almost like quarry-like setting, and so it's like she's there to kind of talk about the movies and stuff, and kind of get her career back on track, but it's the way it's all framed is very kind of dirty and kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel as glamorous as you might expect, which I would think is probably the point. And the more I talk about it, I think the more it is a really good film. Her parents were quite funny. There's a couple of humorous moments in the film, but it never lays it on too thick. And yeah, and she was actually really great. Again, the stiltedness, whether it was her actual limitations as an actress or not, really worked for the story. But there are moments when she has to show this emotion and this fragility, you know. And you gotta think, again, she's like 22 in the movie, you know, and it's I don't know, I feel like that's no age for someone to go through something like that. And listen to me, I'm like 32 myself. It's funny how when I was like 22, I felt like I was as adult as I would ever get, or as grown up as I'd ever get. Now I look back, I feel like I was still a kid, you know, and maybe I'll feel the same about me now when I'm 42. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of hard, not hard to watch, but you just yeah, I don't know. It's gonna stay with me a little bit, and I do think the last moment, and I could see where it was going. I was like, oh, this is how they're gonna end this. This is the shot they're gonna go with, and it's a super memorable final shot and moment, I think, and it really. I mean, I feel like you could take that last like 2 minutes of the film, and it could almost be its own short movie. You kind of know exactly what the whole story has been up until that point, I think, which isn't a criticism. Again, it's just yeah, I think she does a really great job of selling where her character is at the end of that film, and yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. More Italian cinema is something that I would like to see more of. I have quite a few more of his films, in fact, Antonioni. I have La Ventura, if that's how you pronounce it, in the Criterion Collection. There's another 2, I think, in the MOC range, at least. But, yeah, so, La Signora Senza Camellia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lady Without Camellias, which apparently is like a kind of play on words based on a play called The Lady with Camellias or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, anything interesting on the back here that might give me a little bit more context. Riveting behind the scenes show business drama. Yes. An individual's tenuous hold on her identity and the dangers inherent to performance. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many moments in the film that are just like, oh no, like when she does this serious role and her husband is being very like domineering and saying she can't do these movies anymore where she plays a prostitute or anything. She has to do serious drama. We're going to do Joan of Arc. So they do Joan of Arc and the producer's like, you're crazy. And the husband goes off and he makes Joan of Arc and she goes to the premiere and everyone's like clapping as she walks in. She looks beautiful and glamorous and she sits down and very quickly, you know, the audience in, I think it's in Milan or Rome or Venice. It was in Venice. I got there in the end. The audience in Venice, they're just very outspoken and brutal. Like, oh, this is really rough. We should just leave, you know. And there's a funny bit where someone says, you know, we should leave, and the other person says, oh, well, you know, if we leave, there'll always be someone who says, well, you have to see that ending. You know? But she hears this and she leaves and she's devastated that this big break that she thought was going to happen well, she's already had the big break, but she thought that this step into a more serious direction would work out for her because, you know, she wants to do more serious stuff. And there's a very telling scene with another actor who kind of gives her a come to Jesus meeting. He's like, you know, maybe you just, you know, you never really got to work as an actress. You got plucked out because you're very beautiful. You got put in a film and you did okay. And men just saw how you looked and that's kind of defined your career. You haven't had a chance to really work as an actor. You haven't had good directors to show you how to act or to guide you in the right way. And, you know, maybe you should try and, you know, learn to act better, basically. It's one of those harsh moments that I think people sometimes need when they're in moments like that. And, yeah, she just has to kind of take it. Anyway, so I'll leave it there. I very much enjoyed watching and talking about the film. And hopefully I'll see you with another Masters of Cinema review / vlog here discussing it. I was going to say I'd like to keep these fairly short, but it's me. Hey, it's me. So they're going to be long and rambly, but that was my thoughts on the film. And maybe one day down the line I will revisit it and watch some of the extras. There's not many on there, just a couple from this film critic, I think. There's a nice booklet that comes along with it. I did like the theatrical trailer, which was, it was like the story of the year, the film of the year, the must-see character of the year, who Lucia Bose has agreed to play. You know, it was a really weird way of hyping up a movie. The trailer was more about the kind of pomp and circumstance of it being a movie to begin with than the actual story itself, which was intriguing. It was like all montage of like the hot off the press newspapers rolling down with vague clips from the movie peppered in. So that was an interesting oddity of the time. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'd be intrigued to hear if anyone has seen this film and what they think, and if you have any other thoughts on Michelangelo Antonioni. I'd love to hear people's thoughts about more of his filmography. This is the first one I've seen, and I'll probably see many more. I will leave it there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.